Hello, beloved. This is Mother Miriam. Thank you for listening to the Station of the Cross, proclaiming the fullness of truth with clarity and charity.
Heard around the world on your Android and Apple mobile devices.
Welcome to Mother Miriam Live on the Station of the Cross Catholic Radio Network with live video streaming brought to you by LifeSite News and the Station of the Cross. Call Mother with your questions at 1-877-511-5483 or email her at mother@thestationofthecross.com. You can view the live stream on Facebook at Mother Miriam Live. Now, here's Mother Miriam.
Good morning, beloved family. How are you? Do you ever answer, I know you do? You say, I'm fine, absolutely fine. You ask every morning, Mother, and I've been fine, but maybe today I'm not fine. Whatever it is, dear ones, you're in our hearts. We pray for you all every day, and some that call in special needs vary by name. It is, the sun is shining in Beloit, Kansas. It's 12 degrees, and the snow is gorgeous, covered the whole city. But it is well with my soul. That's what's most important. It is well with my soul. And the sun, S-O-N, is shining all over the world. You may not see him, but if you're living the faith, dearest, if your sins are confessed, if you are living as God would have you to live, not based on circumstances. Circumstances will never stop us from living the faith, even if we're deprived of the sacraments and certain things. Will never, ever stop us from loving God, from saying a spiritual communion, from having deep sorrow over our sins if we cannot go to confession. Circumstances will never, ever stop us from loving God and living for him and in him, and nothing will ever stop him from loving us, because he doesn't love us based on who we are or what we do or what we fail to do. He loves us because he's a God of love, and whom he loves, he chastens. And what we have in the United States right now, we have deserved it. And you may say, well, I haven't deserved it. Well, from God's perspective, it's not I, it's we. We are his people, just as anyone who sinned in Israel prior to Messiah's birth on earth, anyone who sinned in Israel, the entire nation was chastised for it, unless they confessed their sins, humbled themselves and confessed their sins, and then often they died after that. But the nation was free. So to us, if you're all okay and one of us, or you or me or whoever it is, commits a grave sin, it's the whole body that's affected. Everything we do, for good or for ill, affects everyone. It's so important that our children understand this. And begin to take responsibility, not simply for their own sins and misdoings, but realizing they are part of a people of God. They represent God. They represent his people, which is why those who go against the faith, especially the hierarchy of clergy, bring such shame on the people of God, such shame on the Catholic Church. For teaching heresy, for leading the sheep astray, for not living the faith. And it seems to be that they outnumber, at least in what is considered newsworthy on the internet and everywhere else, those who are faithful and who do speak the truth. So don't worry what everybody else does. Pray for everyone, offer sacrifices to God for the sins of his people. But you pave the way and live a holy life. That's what we do here. Once I failed, I went, not just once, I failed many times, but I went to confession for failing to pray the office. the divine office. And the priest said to me, rightly so, he said, it's not just you, but your prayer, especially as a religious, is for all those who don't pray. You are praying for those who don't pray. I never forgot it. And to this day, I recall that. We are praying for those who don't pray, just as Daniel did in the Old Testament for the sins of his people. So, do you know what this Sunday is? This coming Sunday is the beginning of Septuagesima. Septuagesima. I've been looking at different websites. It's Septuagesima. Septuagesima. It means 70. Septuagesima is 70 days before Easter. And it is and always has been in the church a mini Lent. It's a pre-Lent. So all of a sudden, you don't simply just give up chocolate or coffee or something like that for Lent. You condition your body, your whole life for that. And so it's a pre-Lent, and the whole Catholic world knew this before Vatican II, the Second Vatican Council. Unfortunately, whatever good came out of that council, there's so much of the faith that was discarded. Holy days and holy days of obligation, and now they're switched to Sunday. It's almost meaningless now. And this pre-Lenten season, so is 70 days before Lent, and then Sextuagesima is 60 days, Sextua is 60 days before Lent, and then Quintagesima, and then Quadragesima, 40 days before Easter, rather, and which begins the more solemn Lent. But Lent, a pre-Lent period of holiness and change. If you really would like, you can just give something up for Lent, and abstain from meat every Friday of Lent, and fast on Ash Wednesday and every Friday of Lent. If you do that minimum, are you in good standing with the church? Yes, you are. If you don't do that, are you in good standing with the church? You are not, which means you're not in good standing with God. We can be in good standing with the church by doing what is absolutely required, again, even following Vatican II. But your life won't change very much. The season that the church had for 2,000 years, the pre-Lenten season, was to get our souls ready for Lent and practice holiness. And someone sent me this article, 7 ways to prepare for Lent during, her name is Heidi. Heidi, if you're listening, God bless you, I thank you. 7 ways to prepare for Lent during the Septuagesima, it's 1 S, not 2, Septuagesima season. And the article begins, traditionally, the third Sunday before Lent started a period of preparation for the Lenten season, called the Septuagesima season. The current post-Vatican II calendar of the Catholic Church no longer recognizes this pre-Lenten period, but there is nothing to stop rank-and-file Catholics from observing it as a private devotion in order to gain a greater sense of focus in time for the start of Lent. So we celebrate it. I guess you could say it's a private devotion because the church no longer does it. They have thrown out what is so meaningful for the soul, for our growth in holiness, for our union with God. It grieves me no end. Even holy days of obligation, they've been switched to Sunday. They're meaningless now. It's a shame. And again, if you were raised post-Vatican II, you don't know this, and neither do I. I entered the church in 1995, and this was done away with. And when I found the traditional Mass, the Mass of the Ages, the extraordinary form called by all different names, It's life-changing, dear ones. It's life-changing because they have retained what the Second Vatican Council, Pope Paul VI and others have just done away with. It's doing away with our faith. It's doing away with our faith. So we are in, right now, the third Sunday after Epiphany. That is this week, the third Sunday after Epiphany. And we will begin this next Sunday, the season of Septuagesima, which is 70 days before Easter. And you know, that really is a carry-on from Judaism. We were always in a season in Judaism. We lived the calendar year. It seems since Vatican II, we don't anymore. We're almost mindless. All we know is that it's not a holy day, or Easter's coming, or Christmas is coming, or other more major holy days are coming. August 15th, Our Lady's Assumption, and so forth. This is wonderful. But the rest of the year is ordinary time, and there's no such thing as ordinary. Even the fact that they've called it ordinary time is a it robs the faith. It robs the faith. We should know what we're in. And now, again, this past Sunday was the third Sunday after Epiphany, and so we celebrate all week when we pray the Divine Office. We end with the collect of the third Sunday of Epiphany. It's so meaningful. We always know where we are. And by the way, we still have our Christmas tree up, because Christmas traditionally has lasted until the Feast of the Purification, Candlemas. And we are also saying a novena to Our Lady of Good Success, because her feast day, she is Our Lady of Good Success of the Presentation. Yes, okay. We're going to take an early break. I was just told that. So we'll be right back. And don't go away. God bless you.
Love learning more about the church, but confused or disheartened by the struggles we are facing today? Follow LifeSite News Catholic on Facebook, Twitter, or sign up for LifeSite Catholic emails and stay up to date on the constant stream of news about the Catholic Church. Our church is in a time of crisis, and we as laity have a responsibility and a duty to educate ourselves and stay true to the faith. LifeSite News Catholic is dedicated to keeping the laity informed and educated. To follow us, go to Facebook or Twitter and search LifeSite News Catholic. As Mother Miriam always says, we must live as if it were true.
Dominus vobis,
Hello, beloved. This is Mother Miriam. How would you like to wake up each morning to inspiring sermons from knowledgeable and faith-filled priests? You can tune in to Sermons for Everyday Living every day at 6 a.m. Eastern on the Station of the Cross. You can listen on the stationofthecross.com or anytime on the free iCatholic Radio mobile app. God bless you.
Hello, this is Father Frank Pavone of Priests for Life. Doing pro-life work is not simply a response to a cause or a movement, an ideology, or a political platform. It's a vocation and a spirituality which shapes our pro-life activity and keeps us rooted in God amidst that activity. Learn more about this pro-life spirituality and how you can make a public commitment to live it at priestsforlife.org. This is Father Frank Pavone, National Director of Priests for Life.
Welcome to Mother Miriam Live on the Station of the Cross Catholic Radio Network, with live video streaming brought to you by LifeSite News and the Station of the Cross. Call Mother with your questions at 1-877-511-5483 or email her at mother@thestationofthecross.com.
Welcome back, beloved. We had to go to a quick break, and it looks like the screen, the internet, everything is cleared up and a little better now. So blessed be God for all those engineers who know what to do. I'm so thrilled. And I'm also told that every once in a while, the internet, we don't know where it stems from, maybe across the lands, it gets a little fuzzy, and then it'll correct. So I never know when that's happening. So don't worry, because the engineers are on it, and sometimes they can't fix it. Sometimes it's an internet interference beyond our control. We're talking about 7 ways to prepare for Lent during the Septuagint season. And again, the third Sunday before Lent started a period of preparation called Septuagint, and it means 70, and it is 70 days before Easter, when the whole Catholic world began to prepare for Easter. Little by little, and I'll tell you how to do that. And I was expressing before the break how grievous it is that we today really have been robbed of that. But the church, again, has it. And so if you follow the old form, or if you just go online and look up 7 ways to prepare for Lent during the Septuagint season, you will find it. Those of you who follow the Extraordinary Form Mass, the Tridentine Mass, the Mass prior to Vatican II, probably have continued to practice this. This article I'm reading now says the 3 Sundays before Lent were traditionally called Septuagesima, that's 70, Sexagesima, 60, and Quinquagesima Sundays, respectively, from the Latin words for 70th, 60th, and 50th. The author says, I will not go into details of the history of this naming convention here, but I will provide some links to further reading at the end. Suffice it to say that in the past, the pre-Lenten period took its name from the first of these Sundays, Septuagesima. And beloved, if you want to look deeper into your faith, you don't have to know it all. You don't need someone to guide you. If you can go online and just type in the search engine, 7 ways to prepare for Lent during the Septuagint season, Septuagint, S-E-P-T, the first 4 letters of the month of September. Septuagint, S-E-P-T, T-U-A-G-E-S-I-M-A, Septuagint season. And so the question here is, what should we do differently during these 3 pre-Lenten weeks? Let us explore 7 ways that we can prepare for Lent during the Septuagint season. Again, it is 3 weeks before Lent, and 70 days begins this Sunday before Easter. Number 1, self-examination. This is something every single person can do. You don't have to be allergic to any foods. This has not to do with physical diet, but spiritual diet. Number 1, self-examination. A large part of our Lenten discipline, let me just see something here. A large part of our Lenten discipline is the quest to improve in our character. Our repeated individual choices add up to form our habits. The aggregate of our habits forms our character. Thus, if we want to change something about our character, we need to uproot at least one undesirable habit and create a new life-giving one. It says for years we've read it takes 21 days to form a new habit. Lent gives us a period of 6.5 weeks in which to accomplish this transformation, which is just enough time to change a habit. With focus and discipline, the preparation period of the Septuagint season gives us an opportunity for self-examination to discern which part of ourselves needs transformation the most. And it's usually the heart, because As I often said, it's not my original saying that the heart of the matter is the matter of the heart, and that directs our actions, our thoughts, our failings, all of that. Many different methods of self-examination have been developed over the year. First is to do an examination of conscience every day during your prayer time. Now, you can start this Sunday and do it every day of Septuagint or the entire 70 days to Easter. Oh, excuse me. But this should be lifelong. This should be every day of our life. Do an examination of conscience every day during your prayer time. An examination of conscience is a review of our behavior, looking at different categories to assess in what way we have fallen short morally. Many forms of examination of conscience are available online, and the author here has linked to one offered by the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops. Another exercise you can do during the Septuagint season is to reflect each day during your prayer time on one area of your life that you would like to improve upon. Make sure to consciously name an area for improvement each day. If you keep coming back to some of the same things, that gives you a good indication of where you should start making changes during Lent. Beloved, if it's one huge thing that needs to change, one huge area that you need either to confess or to change, and you can't do one for every day, you do one for all of Lent, and you are free of that area of sin or weakness, character, whatever it may be, your life will change dramatically. It goes on to say a more elaborate exercise involves concentric circles. The circles represent, let me just see. I guess this is all right. I want to make sure it doesn't go into a type of prayer that we don't recommend. Well, I wouldn't go ahead with the circles. I'm just going to continue to read this. For the it's what they're suggesting is that we determine what is really at our center, the things that most direct and control our life. But I think we know that without all these diagrams. For the Septuagint season, no, I think I didn't read this before. I read it to you, which I should have. The idea behind all these exercises is that self-awareness is the beginning of any meaningful transformation. We cannot work on fixing a problem in our lives until we acknowledge that it exists. Using the Septuagint season to reflect on our areas of brokenness will help us to have a clear idea of where we need to focus once Lent begins. Pardon my yawning, dearest. I would say that a good way to grow in holiness during this time is to do the preparation for consecration to Mary. Because the very first exercise of all of that is self-knowledge, self-awareness, and that's at the foot of the base of everything we do is self-knowledge. So one, we need to have more self-knowledge by becoming aware of the things that defeat us, the things that lead us to sin, the things that hold us back from living a holy and even a sacrificial life. The next point made here is wean yourself. An important part of the Lenten observance is giving something up for the duration of Lent. such as a favorite snack or drink or activity. By giving something up, we develop a greater sense of discipline over our actions and our body. Also, giving something up can highlight just how dependent we are on creature comforts throughout the day. Isn't that true? The minute we decide to give anything up, the degree to which we can't stand it or we miss it or we have to have it shows our degree of attachment to that, which means we must start a program of detachment. As we feel the sense of lack and emptiness left in us by not having our favorite treat or not watching our favorite show, we can use those moments to invite God more fully into our lives. The deprivation can help us refocus so that we seek our comfort in God rather than in our usual creature comforts. I'm going to mention something else. I didn't dive deeply into those drawing circles, concentric circles, because I just don't like where it's going. But one thing that helped me tremendously is that I was asked to write down a list of everything that I love. Everything I love. Food, activity, playing the piano, going on hikes, whatever it is you love, write down every single thing. It could be a list of 200 things, doesn't matter. And then I was told, this is for a missionary project, to take off the list any one thing I haven't done in 6 months. Any one thing I haven't done in 6 months. I was devastated. I had to take off piano lessons that I hadn't started yet. So I put down I love piano because I wanted to start piano lessons. I had to take it off because I hadn't started them. I had to take off everything that wasn't true in my life, active, in the past 6 months. So I dwindled 200 down to, 7 or 8. And then I had to put them in order of what was priority to me. That's a way, beloved, that is a way to look at your life and see what are your most important things. Even though you say with all your heart, you may want to learn piano or flute or go back to school or become a lawyer, a dentist, a doctor, plant a vegetable garden. I believe you. But if you haven't started it in 6 months, take it off your list and look at the things you do in 6 months. Look at the things that are left. That will show you where your life is at. Could be very good, but that will show you the picture of your life now. And from there, you can begin to work with it. There's the music for our break, beloved. We'll be right back after the break to take your calls, your texts, and your emails. Call in toll-free with anything on your heart. We'll be right back.
LifeSite News is an international news agency devoted to defending life and family and restoring Christian culture. We aim to educate and activate our readers with the information they need to fight the most crucial battles of our day in their churches, workplaces, and families. Our motto is Caritas in Veritate, love in truth. We firmly believe that promoting the truth is an act of love, however hard it is to hear. Over the last 20 years, we have built a reputation for uncompromising reporting, no matter the cost. LifeSite News is by far the most popular pro-life website on the internet, with over 40 million unique users every year and growing. Check us out at lifesitenews.com.
Each weekday from 10 to 11 a.m. Eastern, the Station of the Cross brings you Mother Miriam Live. Mother Miriam is a Catholic nun on a mission to bring Jesus and a message of hope to a world that has lost its way.
Hello, beloved. This is Mother Miriam, and I am thrilled to welcome you to Mother Miriam Live. As always, you're going to be able to call, text, or email whatever your questions are. Through a partnership between the Station of the Cross and LifeSite News, you will be able to listen and watch Mother Miriam live on YouTube and Facebook at the Station of the Cross, including past episodes on podcast. God bless you.
Listen on your local Station of the Cross affiliate and our free iCatholic Radio mobile app, or watch the Mother Miriam live video stream on Facebook and YouTube by searching the Station of the Cross. That's Mother Miriam live each weekday from 10 to 11 a.m. Eastern on the Station of the Cross. Welcome to Mother Miriam Live on the Station of the Cross Catholic Radio Network, with live video streaming brought to you by LifeSite News and the Station of the Cross. Call Mother with your questions at 1-877-511-5483 or email her at mother@thestationofthecross.com.
Welcome back, dear ones. We're going to continue tomorrow with suggestions that we all can begin this Sunday. It's voluntary as our pre-Lenten season, Septuagint, which the Church celebrated for, I guess, close to 2,000 years. And again, they were done away with at Vatican II, as so many other good and holy practices were, and I grieve that. I grieve it not because I lived or was Catholic. I did live prior to Vatican II, but I wasn't Catholic then. But every time I discover what the Church had as a discipline for Catholics, and they didn't complain because they were formed, they were molded by the Church. We've thrown all that out today. So every time I come across a wonderful practice such as this, I look into its meaning and I say, no, we want to live this. This is our faith. This is our Church. We were formed. I think the same is in a family. If all of a sudden on Friday, you need to give up meat and you wanted hot dogs, or your children wanted whatever it was, and you can't have it, it's sadness, it's complaining. It should be joy. It shouldn't be, yes, a sacrifice, but the sacrifice of praise that God has given us a way to grow in holiness. But if you live that way, if your children are taught to tithe, to give a part of their earnings and salary to the Church and to the poor, if you grow up that way, if you grow up not just fasting on Lent and Good Friday, Ash Wednesday and Good Friday, every day of Lent used to be a fast day. Every day used to be a fast day. We here give up meat the entire season of Lent. But even through the year, the family can fast, choose one meal, or give up desserts and put that money together to feed the poor. Your family should be raised that way. So it's not all of a sudden, you mean I have to do without that? See, the attitude should be, I get to help the poor. I get to help God in his poor. They need to be raised that way. As adults, we need to live that way. All right, dearest, it is... I'm digging into our own half hour for your calls and your texts and your emails. So the toll-free number is 1-877-511-5483, 1-877-511-5483, or email at mother@thestationofthecross.com. We have an email from Scott who writes, Mother, I've been listening to your commentaries regarding the COVID-19 vaccine, direct or indirect development, and testing lines that utilize aborted fetal tissue, and have to agree as well as disagree with your positions. With respect to the vaccine development itself, I agree with your moral and ethical arguments regarding sourcing and testing. No argument. However, regarding cooperation with evil by using products and services such as Starbucks, Verizon, and others, there is disagreement. One cannot be responsible for the actions or decisions of others whom you entrust with either your money, such as donations, or through products or service purchases. The burden of responsibility, or sin if you prefer, falls on the final decision makers. Woe to them who do not use resources ethically or morally. Let me go on record and say that I am not advocating a participation to the near occasion of unethical or immoral individuals or organizations, and woe to them. No, in those instances, you are responsible. Every single one of us is connected, Scott writes, through an infinitely complex chain of expenses, albeit invisible. To evil as well as good, it cannot be avoided. We must work to stop the wrongful use of resources. Love your program. God bless you, Mother Scott. Well, thank you, dear Scott. And I will comment on your email. I think I said it, let's see now, I'm not sure if I said it earlier this week in talking about COVID-19, but we are living in a world where we can hardly avoid the fruit of sin, if I should say, the products produced through sinful needs. I mentioned if we sign up with a telephone company who advertises themselves as pro-life because they don't give to any abortion sources or other evils, we find that they are able to exist even though they are free from that only because they are able to hook in to an international wire network. I don't know all the terminology. And many of those do use unethical or give to Planned Parenthood or other means. So, Scott, I think you're right in that there is hardly a way to avoid evil in this world or coming in contact with it. But deliberately, in this case, the vaccine is made from aborted fetal cells because we have a pandemic on our hands and we want to get a vaccine to save our lives. And that vaccine is made from aborted fetal cells. No, I'm not going to take it because then I'm using the fruit. I'm the benefactor of those babies dying. This is specifically a new vaccine developed from the bodies of murdered children. I'm sure I had a measles shot as an infant, and I didn't know that they used aborted fetal cells, and I'm sure my parents didn't know that either. But when we know these things, I think we take responsibility, absolutely, for it. When Starbucks began manufacturing their coffee cups with same-sex couples on them, supporting the homosexual lifestyle, I stopped purchasing from Starbucks. You know, will I stop purchasing them the rest of my life since it's years ago now? I don't know. Probably not. We get used to evil, and the whole world, Scott, is in some way we're connected with it. But to make a statement that I'm not going to live, a child's not going to die in order that I live with these vaccines, I'm going to make that statement. And if not, I do cooperate with evil because it's current and I know they're doing it, and I'm not going to be a part of it. If I am a party to the product of their evil, then I'm participating in it. If Starbucks customers stopped going to Starbucks at all because of their stance and support of immoral issues, they wouldn't exist. The fact is that we care more about our comforts and our delights and our profits than we do about human life and that we do about honoring God. It's just a given. It's just a given. I don't want to get a regular cup of coffee. I want to get a Starbucks latte, whatever it is, 10 names. Well, I can do that. Or I can sacrifice and thank God for a regular cup of coffee and not participate in their evil promotion. So, Scott, do I participate in what is the fruit of evil? I don't doubt that I do. I probably don't even know what it is. But if I know it and then I'm not going to participate in it, not if I know it. So what else can I tell you? I think I also illustrated or told you a story a couple of days ago how I said no to a Catholic life, a public Catholic life, that would have had me practically a millionaire by now because of one tiny ingredient in their product that supports abortion. And I knew it. If I didn't know it, it'd be different. But not only do I know it, they advertise that product. And I'm going to be a part of what's advertised of a company that supports Planned Parenthood. Absolutely not. No, I won't do it. We don't do evil that good may come. So I think, Scott, it's a decision. I think it's a decision. We cannot avoid evil totally. You know, every product I buy, printer and paper clips and everything else, do I look into their history to see who their donors are? I don't. Maybe I should, but I don't. But if I hear that all of a sudden a certain brand, well-known, maybe that we use, is giving millions to Planned Parenthood, yes, I will stop using them to make a statement. I will stop using them. We can't win if we don't fight. We can't win any evil war if we give in totally and say we're not responsible. I think if we buy the product of their evil, we are responsible. We have a call from Edward in California. Hi, Ed.
Hi, Mother.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. But I have a question.
Hopefully I'll have an answer for you. Go ahead, dear.
So I now find myself talking with a lot of progressive Christians and a lot of Protestants, and I just wanted to ask, what's the best way to read the entire Bible? Because they only want Scripture.
Okay. How old are you, Edward?
I'm 12.
Oh, God bless you. I had a hunch, because your voice is fantastically clear. I had a hunch that you were younger than 20, so that's why I asked you. And God bless you. I wish every 12-year-old and 112-year-old would ask that question. The best way to read the Bible is to read it from cover to cover. Open it at Genesis and read it through to Revelation. That's one way. Make sure it's a Catholic Bible. That's one way to read it. Mm-hmm. Another way that some people find helpful is to read the New Testament through and then read the Old Testament. Or you could take, let's say you start with the New Testament, because mostly the New Testament's going to be quoted, not so much the Old. And so I would say to start with the Gospel of John. Of the four Gospels, what's called the Synoptic Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, have a lot of the same content. But the Gospel of John is very different, and it shows more than any other gospel or writing in the entire Bible the deity of the Messiah. It shows that Christ is God. So I would start with the Gospel of John, read it right through, and when you're done with that, pick a smaller book. Pick Philippians, let's say. It's 4 chapters. It's smaller. Then go back and read Matthew. And then pick 1st, 2nd, or 3rd John at the end. They're small. And then go back and read Mark, and then pick a small book, and then go back and read Luke, and pick a small book, and then you'll be into Romans, and then pick another small book, Jude, let's say, at the end. So you can alternate large and small. The order in which you read is not so important, but that you read an entire letter or gospel through is important, because then you get the context. Many people are going to throw Bible verses with you they probably have, as you've experienced, and they're out of context. They don't know really what they're talking about. Jehovah's Witnesses, Mormons knock at your door and they throw verses at you. But if you understand them in the context of the whole book, the writing, the whole gospel, you're going to be able to answer them much better.
All right. Thank you, Mother.
You're welcome, dear Edward. Call in again. I love your questions. All right, there's the music for our... Thank you, sweetheart. There's the music for our break, and we'll be back. It'll be our last segment, so feel free to call in 1-877-511-5483 with anything on your heart, or email at mother@thestationofthecross.com. We'll be right back.
We stand at a crossroads in history. We can stand up for life, family, and a Christian culture, or we can stand idly by while the fabric of society becomes fundamentally anti-life, anti-family, and anti-Christian, slowly leading to its own demise. LifeSite News is the leading defender of life, family, and Christian culture. Through our news reporting, we seek to educate readers with information and zeal they need to fight the most crucial battles of our day. And we need your help to continue that mission. You can support LifeSite News by following our social media pages on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Another way to support LifeSite is to prayerfully consider becoming a Sustain Life monthly donor to help us continue to save lives in the culture. To donate, visit give.lifesitenews.com/sustain life. Our staff of over 40 and millions of future generations, thank you for helping to save the culture.
The iCatholic Radio mobile app is 2 apps in 1. Your place to hear great Catholic programs and music. Here's what listeners are saying about the updated iCatholic Radio mobile app.
Through the iCatholic Radio app, I have listened to the sermons and teachings several times. The effect has been a deeper understanding of my faith and Catholic tradition. This app has truly been a blessing in my life and has increased my faith.
With the new app, you can choose to listen to our programs like Mother Miriam Live or The Catholic Current whenever you like. But you can also switch over to the best in contemporary music by Catholic artists. We even bring you hours of Gregorian chant every Sunday morning. If you do not currently have our app, download it to your iPhone through the Apple Store or to your Android phone by going to Google Play and searching iCatholic Radio. The updated iCatholic Radio mobile app, your one stop for great Catholic programs and music.
Welcome to Mother Miriam Live on the Station of the Cross Catholic Radio Network, with live video streaming brought to you by LifeSite News and the Station of the Cross. Call Mother with your questions at 1-877-511-5483 or email her at mother@thestationofthecross.com.
Welcome back, beloved, to Mother Miriam Live. This is our half hour together. And again, you're welcome to call in with anything on your heart. It never needs to be what we're speaking about. And the toll-free number, 1-877-511-5483, or email at mother@thestationofthecross.com. Before the break, we had a call from Edward in California wanting to know maybe the best way to read the Bible. Edward, I hope you're still listening, dear one. I suggested to Edward you could sit down and read it through from Genesis to Revelation. The Old Testament, especially the first 5-7 books, are written as a straight story. Where Genesis leaves off, Exodus picks up, and then Leviticus and Numbers and Deuteronomy and Joshua, they're kind of a narrative. The New Testament is not written in that way, so each book is unto itself. And I suggested that Edward either read the whole thing through or maybe read the New Testament first, then go back and read the Old Testament. And maybe read, rather than reading it right through, take a Gospel of John first, perhaps a Gospel, big book, and then a small book, and then a big book and a small book, and alternate. But I have another suggestion, dear Edward. If you're still listening, you can... If you can purchase this, or your parents can help you with it, the Ignatius Study Bible. It's the Revised Standard Version. Catholic edition, which I recommend, Revised Standard Version Catholic edition. You don't need a child's Bible, Edward. Just jump right in to an adult Bible. That's what you can deal with. I know it. And the Ignatius Catholic Study Bible, New Testament. It is the Revised Standard Version Catholic edition, and it has an entire commentary through it by Scott Hahn and Curtis Mitch. It's truly outstanding. And so when you're challenged by others, perhaps, or just for your own knowledge with certain questions on certain verses, just look them up, or do your reading through the New Testament of the Ignatian Catholic Study Bible, and you'll get a wealth of information from the Church Fathers, scholarly sources, all of that. So that probably is going to be a wonderful resource for you. We have an email from someone who writes it anonymously and says, we live in a small town in the middle of a very rural area. We are the only homeschoolers in our small parish. The parish itself is older, so there are almost no young families. We use a Catholic curriculum and drive to a great Catholic religious ed program in another town. My children are devout Catholics and well catechized. Oh, it's music for me to hear. And she continues, or he continues, as homeschool classical co-op has started in our town. It is Protestant-based curriculum, and is taught at a Protestant church. I can attend and stay the entire time. Is it okay to do this co-op once a week for a couple of hours? It's mostly focused on math and history, so we can socialize with other homeschool families, even if they are not Catholic. You're free to do that, dear one. I don't think it's okay. If you have raised your children so beautifully and you drive to a great Catholic religious ed program in another town, I don't know why there aren't people there to socialize with, at least when you're with them. And it can't be 4 hours away if you're driving, so it seems that there might be some sociability there. I think you're going to ruin your children. You're giving them a solid Catholic upbringing. You say they're devout Catholics and well catechized. I would not bring them to a Protestant-based curriculum or Protestant people. No, absolutely not. You will make them Protestant. You will make them Protestant. If they were in their late teens and they were evangelists, then it's okay, but they're not going to socialize, they're going to evangelize. I would not do it. I think it'll be detrimental to your children and to you. So there are many things you can do online. And again, if you drive to a great Catholic religious ed program in another town, to me, that would be what you take advantage of, and those people get together with on a social basis, even if it's once a month. We have an email from Leanie, it looks like Leanne, who writes, "Hello, Mother Miriam. I've been enjoying your show since I discovered it back in September. I'm taking steps to return to Catholicism, the Catholicism of my childhood." Oh, Leanie, a big hug from me. Blessed be God. She says, "I'm a grandmother now. I contacted a local parish and I was told to listen to EWTN. I looked them up, and none of the Catholics I have been influenced by on the internet seem to be represented. I have detected quite a spectrum of thought in Catholicism, and I'm wondering where EWTN fits in and what this recommendation tells me about the local parish. Can you please help me? I hope this isn't an inappropriate question. I really love listening to you and have found your advice sound and comforting in these extremely distressing times. Thank you, Leni. It's not easy for me to answer you, Leni, because you have not told me the Catholics that have influenced you on the internet. It's hard for me to say where you're at. I've learned that EWTN has recently made some changes. I don't know what they are. I recommend them as a resource. I do. If you're listening to more traditional Catholics, then they're not going to be as traditional. They're good. I recommend EWTN to anybody. But again, if you're on a little more traditional track, and you listen to Marshall Taylor and Father Ripperger, who else am I thinking of? The names are just not coming to me right now. Then EWTN might be not as traditional for you. They're good, they're faithful, but if you're looking toward more traditional and Latin Mass, then you might not find them. I think the thing I don't have any negative about EWTN. They're not as staunch traditional as some. They teach no heresy. They're good. Established by Mother Angelica, who should be up for sainthood. And so forget what it tells you about the local parish. You need to determine that yourself. If the local parish is faithful to the magisterium, faithful to the faith, then you can be part of them. If you want to be more traditional, I'd say to find a Latin parish, a Latin Mass parish, and then you won't have to determine things. If your local parish, shakes hands at the Our Father and has guitars and all of that, it may not remind you of your childhood Catholicism. So I would say you need to determine that for yourself at a local parish, or look for a Latin Mass parish if there's one in your area. Leanne, so just check out recommendations people give you and then determine how they are by your own soul and spirit and what you're looking for. Okay, dear ones, God bless you, and we'll speak with you tomorrow.
The Station of the Cross invites you to join us each day for the Liturgy of the Hours.